Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast. Today I've got a lovely lady who we sort of followed each other on Instagram and stuff for quite a while, and I felt like I knew her, but we'd never met until recently. That meeting we'll explain a bit more later. But today I'd like to introduce you to the lovely Zoe Kingham. Hello, Zoe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I like to say it even if I'm not, but I am actually good today.
Excellent.
How are you?
Yep, fine. All good, thank you.
Right. So what we'll do, we'll for anyone who know, like you've got going to have people you know, but for anyone who doesn't, we're going to go on to the lovely work you do at some point. But we'll begin by going back to what took the young Zoe back into hairdressing back in the day.
Oh God, this seems so many years ago. I started hairdressing when I was about 12, so that is a long time ago. And then I started doing Saturday work, and I'd done an apprenticeship with Simon Harris and Jenny Dow that owned Headlines in Billericay. And I worked for them for 21 years, and I had the most amazing time. Probably my best times in hairdressing, actually. We've done loads and loads of work with L'Oreal as apprentices. We did loads of competition and stage work. It was amazing. Simon Harris is now my employee's salon consultant, so it's really weird. It's all gone round in a bit of a circle. And then, because of personal circumstances, I relocated to Morden, and then I started working for Vicky and Jane at Reed Hair, and that's been really good. And I've been there for 13 years now. I work my hours still around my children, so I'm on the shop floor most of the time, and I've done a lot of education in my years in cutting, but now it's mainly in hair loss and scalp problems, which there's a lot of hair loss problems at the moment.
Well, I was going to say that. How was things in general? Like starting at the beginning of the year. How did lockdown affect you?
What, personally, or on
yeah, and then what did you see going on around everything?
On a personal note, I think like everybody else, I didn't think this pandemic was going to come to this country. And then all my family live in Spain, and then all of a sudden Spain gets hit really bad, and their lockdown in Spain is a lot harder than what ours was here, and it was really, really scary. And then it hit here, and then it's, you can't go to work, you can't go out. I couldn't see my partner for weeks on end because we don't live in the same household. And then after a while, you have to learn to live with it. I think this whole virus, we've got to learn to live with it and respect it and not be scared of it. And then when we eventually went back to work, as hairdressers, we're not just hairdressers. I think we're therapists as well. And, we've heard some really harsh stories, to be honest, and you have to put that hard hat on and just listen to people and the amount of stress that people have been under. And because of that, I've actually seen lots of people's hair falling out at the moment. I've only been in hair loss for about 4 years, so I'm quite new to it still, but I've never seen as many people's hair falling out in the plug hole as I have at this time. So it just shows the amount of stress that people have been under, because we get to that stress causes an awful lot of hair loss, hair breakage as well.
So why is that? I mean, I in my experience, I've often put it down to stress when people have got a bit extra hair fall. But what causes it to react in that way, stress?
Right. I think firstly, I have seen a few people that have actually had this virus, that have had COVID, and I can honestly say the devastation that it has had an effect on their hair, where their hair is just completely broken and really, really fallen out very badly. Now, the reason this is happening is, is when you're ill or anything, your immune system is really compromised, basically. So this is where it all starts from. And then you get lots of deficiencies in your body. So you get anemic, you get lack of iron, lack of vitamin C, zinc. There's lots and lots of vitamins and minerals that your body has deficiencies for. When it comes to hair, your hair follicle is the second largest dividing cell of your body. So it needs huge amounts of good nutrition and vitamins and minerals for that hair follicle, that cell, to grow healthy and to stay healthy. Now, because people have become ill or they've become very, very stressed, their immune system is compromised. So they're getting deficiencies in their body. So their food intake is not enough goodness for the hair to grow well. So that is why I'm finding a lot of people are having hair falling out or slightly breaking at the moment. I think also in lockdown, some people become very healthy, become very fit, and other people, you know, was very scared of everything, and maybe their diet and their alcohol intake wasn't as good as it should have been. So all these factors have a huge, you know, it compromises the immune system hugely.
So when you said about the lack of vitamins and stuff like that, is it something people could at least help a bit with taking vitamin supplements? Would that help, or is that?
Yeah, I would say if anybody's experiencing any sort of hair fall, or they're finding their hair is not in as good as condition as it should be, start looking first of all at your food intake, because 3 good meals a day is still not enough good nutrition for your hair follicle, your hair cell, to grow really well. You've got to have a really good balanced diet. There's lots of proteins, your carbs, your good carbs, your nuts, your seeds and everything. And then look at taking maybe some sort of vitamins and minerals as well. Probably perhaps some vitamin C, some iron, vitamin D, get out in that sunlight. You know, even when it's a bit of a gloomy day, vitamin D is really good for you. B12 is really good. There are lots of things to you know, to help you and to keep you healthy.
I think it's what you said, rather than a supplement like vitamin D, is actually get outside.
Just get outside. Yeah. Vitamin D is like a healer as well. It, you know, it's good for your bones, and it's good for skin, and it's good for everything. It regenerates cells, so it is really, really good for you. Just get outside, get fresh air. We need fresh air.
Yeah. I mean, I say that I'm indoors all day today doing podcasts, but I think maybe after I've done the last one this afternoon, maybe rather than drive to the Tesco, I'll walk.
Yeah.
Have a bit of cardio coming back, get some vitamin D in me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, lots of water. You know, do we drink enough water? Probably not. You know, just got to have a really good, healthy, balanced diet.
Well, I think you know, definitely stress is a big thing. It's obviously people's mental health are suffering, things like that. So, what, as you say, actually, it's great you say that you work for Simon. I didn't know you realise. I didn't know that you worked for Simon all them years. He's a great guy. Yeah. And Headlines was always, and it is a great business as well. What then took you on that journey from being a stylist and everything else to then getting into this specialist field? What was the catalyst?
It all started with one of my clients, actually, and I started doing this lady's hair, and I've done her hair for quite a few years, and she had the most finest, really thin hair, that her scalp was showing, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to send her or anything. And I thought, hang on a minute, I've been hairdressing, 25, 30 years, and I didn't know how to help this lady. And Vicky, who I work for now at Reed Hair, she'd done the Trevor Sorby course, My New Hair, when it very first started, which was probably, I don't know, maybe about 14 years ago now. She did a little bit with it, but then as their business grew, she sort of, you know, they stepped back and was doing office duties more. And I said, like, I need to do so. I need to help this lady. This is ridiculous. So that's when I started. That's when I went on to my new hair course, because I just felt I had so much experience in hairdressing and educating other people in cutting, colouring or whatever. And I can't help this poor lady who's in tears and she's hardly got any hair. Like, how can I not help her?
And so you did the course. What is, for anyone who doesn't know, how did that come about, that charity? What is the charity about?
So the charity, as I say, was set up quite a lot of years ago now by Trevor Sorby, and exactly the same thing happened with him. Different circumstance. It was a family friend that had got cancer and needed a wig, and it was he was the same. Where do I get a wig from? You know, he has all this experience, but still didn't know how to help his friend, you know, to get a wig, what's going to happen to the hair, etc., etc. So, yeah, he founded this charity. And what they do is they educate independent salons all around the country, and I think overseas now as well. And there's 3 levels with this course, and I've done all 3 levels. And it teaches you, you get taught by Macmillan nurses. So you get taught how people are feeling if they've got any sort of hair loss, they've got cancer, what they go through. You get taught wig fitting, wig cutting. We got taught the basics of hair loss science by a scientist. And as you go through the level 2, it gets deeper into the wig fitting, the wig cutting. And then the level 3 was really, really hard, actually. That was a real toughie on an emotional part, because that's when the Macmillan nurses really tested us, pushed us to see if we could cope with seeing people that have got hair loss, because it can be really hard sometimes, and you've got to look after yourself as well when you're dealing with a lot of people, because they offload on you. I would recommend anybody to do the course, but you've got to be a real people person, a real sympathetic person, and a really good listener.
I think it's there's a lot of similarities with what we do at Haircuts for Owners. The fact that you said there, you've got to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get to the point where you're cold, that you're unaffected, because you're a human being after all, but you do need to get a level of protection there. How do you cope with
that? My bosses are really good, actually. If I've got something in that's really quite hard, more Vicky, actually, because I think Vicky's experienced this more, that she will call me at home maybe that evening and say, are you okay, etc., etc. I've got good people at work that I can just, it's offloading. You've just got to offload it to somebody, even if they're not taking it in. The best thing is you've got to talk. And I do get really emotional, and I have cried with people. I mean, we're lucky at Reed Hair as well. We've got a really beautiful lounge upstairs, so it's very, very private. And when people are sitting there in tears and their children are sitting there in tears, I can't help it. I do cry. Cool. And that's fine. We're human beings. And it just shows that you care. You really, really care. And it isn't just people with cancer that I'm talking about. It's people that have got even thinning hair or alopecia. I do see a lot of people that have got alopecia, and I cut their wigs for them. And I think people with alopecia get a little bit forgotten about as well. They do tend to go underground a little bit too. But they are, their hair will never, ever grow. Some people's hair with alopecia will never, ever grow back. And it's hard. They've got to learn, they have got to learn to cope with that as well.
I mean, on the podcast when it started, I had Gail Porter on, who is
Yeah,
obviously very well known for being having an alopecia, uh,
yeah,
and I learned so much because when we were talking, she explained so much the effect it has. And if you're a person who's not been in that, it's like anything. If you've not been around that, or you don't really get the full extent of it. But it was fascinating to hear how many different aspects of her life it affected.
yeah. It is huge. And as I say, I think sometimes people that have got alopecia, they get a little bit forgotten about because their hair will never ever grow back. Yeah, and it's really really tough. We did last year, myself and Vicky and a couple of the guys, we did a bit of a photo shoot and some videos last year of two girls that we knew that both had actually had alopecia. And it was really humbling to the girls hadn't met each other, how their experiences were so different, and how people accept them, going to the doctors and not really getting a lot of help with it medically. That was really really interesting, really interesting.
I think that's the thing is hair. We know as hairdressers, but can become such a big part of your identity, and especially if it's something that happens fairly quickly, alopecia, it's almost like part of your identity is taken away.
Yeah,
And Gal like said to me, as she was sort of, I mean, she was such an extreme example of it because she was 1 minute she was in all the lads mags and everything.
yeah,
She was just known for her appearance, and then it changed. And she said the work dried up, like so,
yeah.
like that's the effect it can have.
It does. It's huge. People with alopecia as well, a lot of people think that they've got cancer, and people feel sorry for them because they think that they're poorly, and they do have quite um they do have to explain that, no, I've got alopecia, I've got no hair. Yeah, unfortunately people do look, don't they? We all do it, we all do it with anything, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she was saying that that's one of the she's a very funny lady, and she was saying about how, people go, oh, how long have you got?
Yeah, I know, yeah, I've heard this a lot. I
How
know,
long have you got?
I know. And it can, I mean, people are only, they're not doing it to offend
No.
you, are they? It's just human nature, isn't it? But yeah, the girls did say that they did get that quite a lot of the time. I mean, one of the girls that done a photo shoot for us, she's never ever worn a wig, never, and she's proud of how she looks, and she looks stunning. As the other lady, Charlotte, she always wore a wig, and it was amazing actually. When we'd done the photo shoot, she got a wig and she just tossed it off basically. And that was the first time that she'd let people see her without a wig on, so it was quite a big moment for her.
That must have been quite moving.
Yeah, it was. And the sad thing is, the girls, like, lose their eyebrows, their eyelashes, and it's all part of your identity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what happened? Like while we actually finally came to meet, which was a bit odd the day we met, because then it was almost, oh, here you are, because we we felt like we knew each other so well.
Yeah.
But a really good friend, yeah, a really good friend of mine has been. I mean, her story is unbelievable. She's been through so much, and this was at the stage where she's recently going through another lot of chemo after many different times, but this time it looks like the severity means that she's a good chance she'll lose her hair. And
Yeah.
you was the first person I thought of, because she said, I think she thought I might know, and I thought, Zoe, I've got to get her to Zoe. And from my, this may have interest you, because I was like a third party. So
Yeah.
there's you and my friend, and we came in, but from the third party perspective, we went sort of through the salon, straight upstairs. It's a wonderfully private, comfortable environment. Um, you are very, very good at what you do. You know, like, I can see why people warm to you, uh, and the whole experience. Having someone who knows what they're talking about, also has got that people power. Um, it makes a very difficult situation and experience that bit easier. So I just wanted to tell you
Oh,
that.
bless you. Oh, that's really good. I'm glad you said that, because, as I say, it's good being that third party, that that you felt comfortable in that situation as well. But it's, yeah, it's tough. It can be really, really tough. I always say to people, if they're going to lose their hair, more so with probably cancer people that I see, is I like to take the whole hair wig thing stress off them. So they haven't got to deal with that. Let me deal with that, because also once they start recovering and their hair starts to grow through, this is a key point when we've got to really, really look after the hair. And this is when a lot of the science comes into it. How to keep that hair strong, how to get lots of protein back in your hair, when you can colour it, when you can't colour it, because this is a little bit of a grey area that I come to. But the whole team at Reed, they have been educated as to, if they see somebody who's recovering from chemotherapy, how to look after their hair afterwards.
I mean, chemotherapy in itself and radiotherapy, all of these things, I mean, they're life-saving and necessary, but they are a massive poison to the system, aren't they? So they do have their side effects.
Yeah, and they're going to kill the bad cells off, and they're going to kill the good cells off. So a hair follicle is obviously a cell. So, they kill that cell off. So when you start to recover, it's, getting, as they say, the right nutrients and everything back into your body. Everything with hair, you start from the inside out, basically. So our hair here is actually cosmetic. And we're all very much, as hairdressers, all trying to look after our hair, the condition, tame the wildness of hair, getting more body in hair. But we're not really looking at the inside of how it grows, because the stronger that hair follicle is, that cell, the better hair growth you're going to have, and the better, healthier hair you're going to have as well. And this is the whole thing with this whole pandemic as well. And I will say to hairdressers as well, be very, very vigilant with everything, because even if somebody has been well during this whole pandemic, but because of the stress that has caused many people, when you're colouring hair, please do the skin test, and please do strand tests and incompatibility tests on the hair, because I've actually turned away quite a lot of colour work recently, because the hair may look all right, but then when I've gone to test it, the hair's just fallen to bits. So this whole thing going back to nutrition and hair care.
I mean, you've highlighted a couple of things there that, are so apparent in our profession, that we are a real thorough profession, that we do these things, that we've got stringent guidelines, and it's such a shame that it's not given the credence that it deserves, hairdressers and industry. Like Millie Kendall, people at the British Beauty Council are doing wonderful things to get it acknowledged as an industry, but it's almost, and I don't always think that we should be the first to be shut down, because we're in such a cleanest environment. We work so well compared to some other things that are left open that have got blatant disregard to things. What do you think of that?
Oh, I actually got myself in quite a state quite a while ago, and I did have to really talk about it quite a lot, because for me personally, I didn't see my partner for weeks and weeks and weeks. I've been here on my own with my children. protecting them, looking after them, you know, which we all do. I can't see any of my family. I've cancelled 4 flights to go and see my family in Spain. And it really, really pees me off when I see people flouting the rules. And it has really caused me quite a lot of anxiety and anger, actually. And what you're saying about the hairdressing environment, when we was furloughed before, quite a lot of us really did do a lot of courses, and it was learning about COVID and how it worked, you know, what it's all about, and, you know, a back to work plan about the cleanliness and everything. And I feel more safe going into our salon than I do to a supermarket. I actually don't go into the supermarket. I do my shopping online, and I go to my local farm shops and stuff. But yeah, it really does get on my nerves when you see other shops open, you think, well, you haven't even got a mask on, let alone having a mask and a visor, and you're trying to cut hair, and you're being a therapist to most of these people as well. You're trying to lift people's moods up. People are quite somber at the moment as well, and you know, you're a really personal person to that. I just don't think hairdressers have got, you know, they're always bottom of the pile, I think. We're never ever up here. You know, people say, oh, you're just a hairdresser, and you get that a lot.
When you say that, but I can understand what you mean by being at the bottom of the pile, but any industry sort of survey, or any of these sort of, you know, glossy magazine surveys, what's the happiest place work environment? Hairdressing is always in the top. It's always, if not the top, it's in the top 3. So as an industry, it's a great place to work.
Yeah,
everyone's happy. It's, you know, but at the same thing, then it's not taken seriously. I think there's an element about hairdressers that possibly bring it on themselves, include themselves in this, that they don't take themselves seriously, that they don't, you know, that there's too much. Sometimes people aren't professional in what they do. But having said that, the majority of it, I mean, we're talking about salons, which is a great, clean, professional, safe environment.
yeah.
I go to homeless centres. Now, in a lot of the position I go into, I would rather go into a homeless centre than go into a supermarket, because everyone there, the people who work and volunteering centres, are very, very careful. We're extremely careful with our volunteers and all of our PPE. So I really think that the people's opinions need to change about it. I totally agree with you on that.
We've actually, you know, we've been really fortunate that, you know, since we've been down, you know, since we started back work before, we've actually had a huge amount of new clients coming to us. And I think, and, you know, they've not gone back to where they was getting their hair done because they're not happy with the PPE. That, you know, people are really fussy where they are going and the questions that they are asking, what we are putting into place. But I definitely feel very safe at work, very safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. I think, I mean, recently the report the British Beauty Council brought out, it's off the top of my head, I'm pretty certain it's something like 30 billion that's brought to the UK most profit. It's an incredible size industry, you know, because it encompasses hairdressing, beauty, you know, barbering, and all those things. Put them all together, it's massive industry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is huge. So hopefully we get back to work soon.
Yeah. I mean, please God, this 4 week, you know, 4 weeks is doable. You know, it's all full that we have to shut, but 4 weeks we can, you know, we're nearly end of the first week, so it you know, it's doable as long as they don't extend it.
I know, I'm slightly worried about that, but you know, hopefully they won't. But if everybody abides by the rules and meant to be doing what they're meant to be doing, we'll get through this.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, like, as we were saying about the salons and the safe environment where we work. I mean, everything started to open up, and then they had the eat out to help out stuff going on. And then I went and sat in a restaurant with a couple of pals, and it was on a Friday night, and it was packed, and
Yeah,
there's no this. They've not taken any tables out. There's not, and yet salons have got like whole units taken out. Now,
yeah,
the thing is, if over the last 20 to 10 years at least, profits have gone down on the high street.
yeah,
Even before COVID, profits were going down for numerous reasons. You got to the point where people would be grateful to get 10-20% profit margin. And then, more realistically, I think there was a report done that 90% of British salons are breaking even or less, which is ridiculous. Like, there's people, people's livelihoods, and they're working so hard to break even. So you take away, if you take 40% of the units out, or you take 40% of turnover away, even with help and aid, any fool can see that's not going to last long. And there's a big worry about salons going into the next year about who's going to survive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, for me personally, I don't own the salon, so when it comes to figures, I can't really comment on that. But we've got 19 sections in the salon. We're over 2-3 floors, and we can only have nine people in at one time now. So compared to 19 sections, everybody's been really good. We've had to change our shifts and just work as a team and help each other out. Before this few days, we knew it was going into lockdown again. The salon was like Christmas. For 4 days, it was like Christmas. And everybody did so many hours. And it will be like that when it opens again, which is really good. And it's great that we've got clients, a loyalty we've got is great. But yeah, I think the next couple of years is going to be really, really tough. Really tough, definitely.
Well, there's going to be an aftermath, I think, and the aftermath will be when the help has stopped, the government help has stopped.
Yeah.
It's got to stop at some point, and then people are rebuilding. And it depends how people have managed that help, whether they've put it to good use. And it's I do worry for the industry, but teams like yours and Reed, I've always looked to. I don't personally know the owners, but they've always had a great reputation in their part of the country, and from things you've said there, they're likely to be the survivors, because it sounds like you've got a great team of people working together. Just the fact that your managers and people are ringing you to say, are you okay, after you've had those sessions, that's what a real team and business that's going to survive needs to be. They need to act, they all take care of each other. And you need that balance. You need the creativity and the wonderful work going out, but you do need these business people behind it all that do know enough. So it's that blend, isn't it, of getting it right and to survive.
So did I know Vicky did, and myself did, and another one of my colleagues. We did a course in mental health, actually. And this is a problem anyway, but it's going to be an absolutely huge problem in years to come. And it's in the workplace, it's really recognizing when people are struggling and going the right way about things and the way that people are spoken to. And I think that's really important at the minute. And it's like just checking in with people all the time.
I know the Tom Chapman, he's got a wonderful charity that he's built up, that the Lions Barber Collective, and it's about men talking to their barber. as powerful as that is, it's the same with hairdressing. That
Yeah,
hairdressing clients talking to their. We're often the person that knows the most about people, most personal details, and
yeah.
I think it's it's great what he's done with the industry, and it's part that the hairdressing industry needs to take on board as well. That we need to educate ourselves because whether it's officially part of our job or not, it is a big part.
People will really open up to you. I mean, as I said before, like a couple of weeks before this lockdown, I can think of just two of my clients I've just seen on a day, and I've known them for years, and they was just so flat, and I just had to say, "Are you okay? Do you want to talk about anything?" And they just offloaded, and by the time they'd walked out, they was like buzzing again.
Yeah.
So it is just so important. So yeah, as hairdressers, we are definitely therapists as well.
The times I've had someone in my chair and I've just sort of been chatting and I've just stopped and I've just put my hands on their shoulders and said, "Are you all right?" And then the tears have just come, like, flooded out, and then it all comes out that what's going on in their life, and it's a special thing we've got, isn't it?
It is, and I think as well, this is where we've got to be, and this is what I was taught actually with the Trevor Sorby course with the Macmillan nurses, and although they was teaching us about how the hair loss affects these people, they've done a huge amount on things, how it affects us. And I know myself and some of the guys at work, we finished work and we're on our feet, and it is the emotional people are offloading all day, and the time you get home, you just sit down and you don't want to talk and you don't want to move. So it, as hairdressers, it is having a big effect on us as well, because we're taking on other people's sad times, really.
I think that's a very valid point. I think that I really relate to that, because the times I've had a busy, I've loved it. I've had a really busy salon on Saturday. Saturdays was always buzzing, and you get a busy Saturday, and then, but you, as you say, it's mentally draining. And I've literally come in, and I've got 5 kids, I've got 3 grandchildren, and I've come in on a Saturday evening, and I've not even been out of face going out or anything. And your wife maybe have been at home all day, and the kids and everything.
She wants to go out.
Yeah, she even wants to go out, get away from them. Well, they all want to talk to you, and then you're almost like this antisocial monster.
Yeah.
It's not fair, is it?
No, it isn't. But it's it's what it is, isn't it? And you probably get that with what you do with your your charity work that you do, because you're taking on what they're going through, and that must be really tough, really hard.
It is, and we have, and it's something I'm conscious of with our volunteers. In fact, it's something we're looking to do, have a service for our volunteers, that they can get some counselling, because sometimes the stories, I must say, sometimes it's hilarious. We have great fun at the session. There's some great characters, but occasionally you just get this story comes out from the quiet person, a young woman or an old person, or just comes from like nowhere, and then it wipes the legs away from you. It's horrific. That's the life that some people have had. So you do sometimes take that stuff home with you, and it can be a problem.
Yeah, it can. It's the same with like the hair loss. Especially if we get children in. A while ago we had this lovely little girl come in, and her hair was falling out. When hair falls out, it really does hurt. And this little girl, she had masses of black hair, and all she just wanted a haircut really, really short. She wanted it shaved off, and usually they would book her in with me, but it was just the mum phoned up and just said, "My little girl wants her hair cut," didn't say anything what was happening, and it was booked in with a very, very young stylist. and she cut the hair short, and the little girl's going, no, I want it shaved, I want it shaved. And the poor stylist, she was in bits, because she thought, I can't shave this little girl's hair. She did it, and she was really, really good. And honestly, when this little girl's head was shaved, that little girl smiled, because she went, it don't hurt no more.
Oh.
And it's, you know, and when she done it, it was like, the stylist, it was big hugs. You've done so well. And she just broke down, bless her. But long as you keep in check with them, you know, I think my bosses bought them some flowers, and the little girl's mum, you know, she sent in a lovely card, you know, from her and her little girl, like, you know, thank you for doing this. And you just think, oh, that poor little girl, she's going through all that treatment, but all she was happy about was having her head shaved, so it didn't hurt no more with her hair falling out. So wow. It's stories like that. They're the heart-wrenching ones.
Yeah, I remember, like, when I had the salon, I remember quite a few times over the years that I may have a client going through that, and what I often used to suggest was that she'd come at the end of the day, so that even all the staff had gone, and so what you've got upstairs, I used to just do that for the client in our salon, like, you know, let everyone go home and just have that personal time with them in a salon. And particularly a woman who had longer hair, I found that it was more traumatic of this longer hair coming out. So I would sometimes suggest that maybe they think about cutting it short, so that when it does start to come out, it's not such a big, you know, there's that intermediate. And many a time, I think we used to spend more time sitting chatting about the prospect of it than actually cutting it. Because then, you know, you spend 45 minutes to an hour reassuring and saying it, you know, and then when they're 100% sure, I think I'll have it all cut shorter, you do this little, you know, I cut hair very quickly, so I do this really little pixie cut or something. And 9 times out of 10, they would never have had it. They loved it. And often after, when the hair did and come back, they'd keep it in a shorter style for quite a while, because they, you know, and it was that empowerment. It was like taking control, their only way of taking control of an uncontrollable situation.
I'm glad you've said that, actually, because that is so true. They have got control, and that's what these people need. They need control.
Right, we had a little blip there, so we'll join that together. But we were just chatting about how it empowers people. It takes to take control of it.
Yeah, and many people that I've met, this is the whole thing with it. They, you know, people with cancer, they're fighting to, you know, they're fighting for their life, they're fighting for their families and everything. And if they can make one decision, and that is about their hair, you know, that they have gained control of that. And what you were saying earlier about, you know, when people's hair starts to grow through, it looks really nice. Everybody I meet, honestly, or even if I haven't seen them before their treatment or done their wig fitting or anything like that, people come and see me afterwards if their hair has just started to grow, and how, you know, what to do for the future with it. But their hair always looks lovely short.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like their hair as soon as it comes through and it's really short, but I just find it really, really striking. Really striking.
Yeah, there's often, it's people like you know, someone I'm thinking of when I said that, someone with longer hair would never think of having a little pixie cut or something. It'd be such a too big a change. But, you know, limitation leads to creation, and lo and behold, they look great with it.
Yeah, they do. And you're right, you know, people might grow their hair a little bit, but they don't always tend to go back to how their hair was, actually. So I think sometimes it gives them a chance to have something different, you know, eventually when they can have their hair coloured, you know, a different colour, you know, a different image. Because a lot of these, especially ladies, say, I'm not the same person I was before my treatment. I'm different now. You know, I look different now. And sometimes their families find that really hard to deal with, because they want maybe mum or nan or sister to be the same person, but you find that they say, but I'm different and I want to look different now. It's you know, they want to have like a different image.
Yeah, I think there's often, as you say, that there's a new lease of life, and sometimes there's a new attitude to life when they've
Yeah,
come through something so life changing that they want a new beginning, so they want a new look or a new change. And sometimes I've found that the hair grows back completely different. I've had
yeah,
people with really quite fine straight hair, and it's come back really curly, or it,
yeah.
it
It's called chemo curl.
emo curl. Is that what it is?
Curl. You do find that that does happen probably 90% of the time. After a while, that does tend to calm down, and it does, most hair tends to go back to how it originally was, but it's at first, it comes through very, very curly. It's just where the hair follicle, you know, that hair follicle, that cell has got to grow again, and it's almost been a bit distorted, it's been attacked. So the hair is all a bit, you know, skew with. Once that calms down and settles down, that hair will start to calm. It does calm down.
Yeah.
Also, when the hair grows, there's no protein in the hair, and as hairdressers we should know that a hair is made out of 80% protein. So protein is like the building blocks of hair. So when that hair comes through, there's no protein, so you find that it can break very easily, it can be quite frizzy, and that's when us as hairdressers need to make sure they're using the correct products to get that protein back in the hair. The quicker you get the protein and the condition back into the hair, the quicker they may be able to have a colour. You know, the doctors, the oncologists, you know, or nurses will say you can have a colour after 6 months after having treatment with chemotherapy. It's not always the case. If that hair is in not good enough condition, or there's not enough protein in there, you know, you can't colour that hair. You've got to be very, very careful what you do to hair when it starts to grow.
So, you know, they're the things that people need to know anyway, you know, and they're the things that even hairdressers need to know, that, you know,
Yeah,
we're told by manufacturers it's a 6-month thing, but you still got to do your strand test and all the simple tests.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, start off with you know, as long as their skin test is okay, you know, start off. I mean, we work with Weller, so we've got things like colour freshes, you know, that cover a small amount of the grey hair. It's just like a wash colour. Start off with something like that first of all, and then as time progresses, the hair becomes stronger and better, you can go on to better things. But the last thing you want to put in something like that is bleach, and that's what a lot of people tend to like, is putting lots of bleach in hair, and it just breaks the hair down terribly. And with this pandemic that's going on, just test the hair, just make sure the hair is strong. Don't keep putting loads of color in it and loads of bleach in it. You know, use the color freshes and, you know, the real gentle colors. We're doing a lot of that at the moment, actually. Lots of that, and we've got some really good color experts that work in the salon, and they're really you know, for the gloss colors. It's all about condition as well. Keep hair as good as condition as possible at the moment.
You know, I think it's been an interesting thing as well, because after the first initial like long lockdown, a lot of people moved away from colouring, didn't they? Because they've sort of embraced their long roots, didn't they? Did you find that?
Yeah, we did actually, and I know a few of my clients have grown their colours out, because it's weird actually, because if you see someone, like say every 6 weeks, you see a small amount of their hair growth, but when we were seeing this amount, it was like, oh my God, you're actually not as white as we thought. So why are you having a permanent tint? We can do something different. Or some people's hair was pure, beautiful white. Why are we colouring that? You know, as an industry, we want to be making money, but, you know, it's better to, you know, and then they can maybe have some glosses or something different. So in actual fact, lockdown with hair was great, because we had an opportunity to create something quite different. So yeah, you know, it has been good. People wanted a change. I think hairdressers was the most popular people on the planet when lockdown lifted.
Yeah, we said about how they're not taken seriously and are not appreciated, but first thing everyone was talking about during lockdown was what am I going to do with my hair? You know,
I know.
I
We had,
think people really found the value.
I think the first 3 weeks we all done so many hours. It was unbelievable. I think it was over 10 o'clock at night, just huge queues of people, which is really good. Which you know, I'm sure it'd be like that again.
Yeah. So where's the future of you know, what's for you in the future?
Oh dear. I think on a personal note at the moment, I'm trying to, my kids are at that age. Unfortunately, my daughter didn't do her GCSEs last year, and she's just started college. A lot of it is virtual learning, which is a real shame. And my son is due to do his GCSEs this year. So I've sort of, the last few months, I've really been concentrating on the kids and making sure they're all right mentally. Myself, in my career, I feel like I'm living through my kids at the moment. I just need to get them through the next couple of years, and then I don't know where I'm going to go from here, really, at the moment. I don't like to plan too far ahead because you never know what's around the corner.
Well, we found out that this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
But so, well, all I wanted to say to you was, you know, like in closing, was the fact that you know, it was great to finally meet you.
Yeah, and you.
It was a privilege to see you in action, to see, you know, the kindness that you show people. And you know, I think what we'll do, you know, we'll make sure I'll put the links for the charity on and all the links for yourself as well and everyone that reads. So it was a real pleasure, and hopefully in the not too distant future I'll come back and have a cup of tea with you.
Yeah, I'm holding your friend to that meal.
Oh yes, yes, yes. She will. She will. She will. I know that's going to happen. As soon as we're out of lockdown, she'll make sure that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, no, really
Well,
nice.
it's been great.
That was really good.
Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care. Thank you. Bye.